love for life. Mahogany strong, yeah, we on our lane. Breaking every chain, never stay the same. It's a new day, yeah, we take control. Build it up, exit down, that's the goal. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Mahogany Circle Podcast. It's great to be with you as always. Today, we're going to be talking about something that every single person carries with them, whether you realize it or not. You have conditions. These conditions are usually a function of things that happened in your childhood, maybe your adolescence, early adulthood, but we have learned to deal with certain things and create certain barriers and certain boundaries that we don't even realize happened, but they just came in place. So whether it's your successes, your failures, your relationships, your wins, your losses, or your disappointments, the question isn't whether or not you've been conditioned. The question is whether your conditioning is helping you or it's holding you back. As always, I'd like to reintroduce you to our co-host, Dr. Tabatha. Dr. Tabatha, how are you doing tonight? And what do you think about these conditions?
I am doing great, Dr. Dan. I'm so excited to talk about this topic because, like you said, we all have this, right? And so I believe that this is also true. Many people think that they're making rational decisions, but often they're making emotional decisions based on experiences that they had years ago.
Absolutely. So today we want to talk about some of these different things and how can we make ourselves more bulletproof against the conditions that we already have in place. So today we're going to take a look at what conditioning really is, how our past shapes our present, why fear is often learned. As you know, we love a good story to share with you. So we're going to use the Starbucks story and how to rewrite the narrative that governs our future. So as most of you know, the doctor in front of my name is not just fake. I didn't get it from a cereal box or I didn't do anything like I actually have a doctorate. And my doctorate is in social and behavioral marketing, which is a fancy way of saying buyer behavior. And a lot of that is psychology, right? And so one of the greatest lessons psychology teaches us is this. We do not see the world as it is. We see the world as we've experienced it. That's why many of us can be in the same room with the same people in the same circumstance and be thinking completely different things. So two people can experience the exact same opportunity and reach two completely different conclusions. Now, this doesn't seem to make sense to us. We all go through school, K through 12. Some of us go to higher education. We have a teacher that's teaching us the same things. So why is it that one of us sees it one way and another person sees it another way? And that's really because we're filtering that reality through the different stories in our life. So if you've grown up in a household where education was seen as a privilege and everyone's educated, you can sit in physics class and say, hey, it's a privilege to be learning physics. People like me, I sat in physics class with no parents or anyone who's a physicist, and I thought, this is crazy. I understand gravity, but everything else is just completely optional at this point. So we typically have a psychology that's based on the different stories that we've lived our life through, Dr. Tabatha.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I like to say that it's like wearing a pair of glasses, right? Mm-hmm. And believe it or not, I used to wear glasses for a period of time. For whatever reason, changed my diet, my eyesight got better, right? But the glasses determine what I would see, right? And it's the same thing with everyone else. It determines what you see, not the world itself. Like for me, they were saying that I was nearsighted, which I don't know why they call it nearsighted versus farsighted, but that meant that seeing afar off was kind of a little bit of a challenge for me. And so I just know that when we put that into the realm of perspective, now we both can look at the same situation and still come out with two different outcomes based on the law of conditions. Would you agree with that, Dr. Dan?
Exactly, 100%. And I still wear the glasses because they're a hot look now. But I could wear my contact lenses, or I could not wear anything at all. And with each of those, I see the world differently, and sometimes people see me differently. So I 100% agree with that. So what we know is that someone who's experienced betrayal may struggle to trust. You know, I think some of us, I remember the very first relationship I ever got into when I was in college. There was a betrayal there, and not on my side. And as my wife would tell you, that greatly affected my relationships with everyone else while I was in college. Those people who may go into college with a wonderful relationship, nice, balanced, fair, with a high school sweetheart, and there's an amicable breakup. Those people might get to college and they have no problem with relationships because they feel as though their relationships are going to go through a nice arc, and then eventually you become friends. But we know that we see things, relationships, business, careers, based on the lens of where we were. See that in the Mahogany Circle, we talk about wealth accumulation. Someone who's experienced poverty may struggle to believe that abundance is possible. You know, as many of us know, we've heard of the concept of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? We start out by needing basic physiological needs, food, water, addressed. Then we have safety needs, family needs, ego needs, and then self-actualization. One of the major challenges with mentoring other people, especially mentoring young people, is we can go to them, to their school, and say, hey, listen, man, you can be President Obama. But in reality, so at the very top of Maslow's hierarchy, but what they're thinking is, bro, I'm hungry. So we haven't even addressed the basic need right there. And so oftentimes those who have experienced poverty, they are still at the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy. They're hungry. You know, they want to feel safe. They want to feel like they have a family. So for them, abundance and self-actualization, it seems like an impossibility. And that's not anyone's fault. It's just the stories they've learned from. And maybe someone who failed once, maybe begin believing that they are a failure, right? A lot of times we experience a bad outcome, and then we look for all the different externalities around that outcome, and we attribute failure to those externalities. Dr. Tabatha, I can't tell you how many times people are like, oh, you're a Scorpio. Uh-oh. I'm like, oh, what? Like, you just met me. What's going on here? It's like, I know that. I was like, how y'all are. It's like, how y'all? What? Like, what is going on around here, right? So possibly, besides, you know, some of the other, you know, some of the things with, you know, astrology, they are taking what they have experienced in the past and subscribing that to who I am as a person. And oftentimes with entrepreneurs, this is a major problem, right? Because we started off somewhere. We were 27 years old. We're selling Amway. You just pitching that detergent to your friends, and no one bought it. And you're like, this entrepreneurship sucks,
Right.
because of the law of conditions. Because you're selling off-brand detergent, and you
Right.
think all your friends are gonna go buy it. So the event ends, but the condition remains. And so this is ultimately the issue that we cover with conditions. We oftentimes, based on the stories we've taught ourselves, subscribe all the different factors that went into what could be seen as a failing moment to everything that has to do with that moment. Well, the car you were in, the people you were around, the city you were in. Oh my God. I can't tell you how many times I've been around people who are like, oh, Wilmington, Delaware, I'll never find a relationship here. It's like,
Right.
Really? It's like, why is that? Because it's Wilmington. Like, okay. What's did Wilmington do to you? What did Wilmington do to you?
Right.
So, right. So, you know, when we think about this, let's put this in the framework of a very, very famous company, Starbucks, right? Harold Schultz wasn't the founder of Starbucks, but he became the visionary who transformed it. And typically when you say Starbucks, at least to a master's degree class, and say, name one name that you think of with Starbucks, it's Howard Schultz. So when he traveled to Italy, he noticed something that Americans largely didn't have. Coffee shops weren't just places to buy coffee. They're places where people gathered. As I always like to joke, you know, at Dunkin' Donuts, they used to have the world's most uncomfortable seat because they're trying to get you out of there. Like, get your coffee, get your cruller, get the hell out.
Yeah.
Right? So
Right.
when Howard Schultz went to Italy, he noticed that the coffee shops were like the hub of social and commercial interaction. People talked, they built relationships, they built community. And one of the things he wanted to do with Starbucks is do something very similar to that, Dr. Tabatha.
Yeah. What I understand about him is that he wasn't simply seeing coffee, right? He was seeing community. He was seeing relationships being built. He was seeing people getting outside of their workplaces or their home offices and going somewhere where they could basically be around other people, but still create a space or a safe place, right? That they can go and they can consume coffee. And for the longest of time, that was the model that they founded, right? Until we won't talk about when somebody tried to mess that up, but they brought it back, right? They still brought back that community feel. So he was seeing possibility where there was not even the trace of it being around. And I call that revolutionary, right? Like some people, even with the law of conditions, it doesn't matter what you've gone through over the course of years, because you could literally make a decision and change all of that. And so I like that we take the opportunity here in the Mahogany Circle to do these case studies, because it allows us to be able to look at the law of conditions and see how just one person with one decision changed the way that we look at the coffee industry today, or any other industry, right? Like, I believe that that's the power that we have within us to be able to do that, make those decisions.
Absolutely. So many people at the time really looked at coffee just as a commodity, just like bread, peanut butter, salt. Like coffee was like that, right? But Howard Schultz saw the experience, right? So he had to overcome tons of skepticism from investors and industry experts who thought that Americans would not embrace this model. But he really refused to let the existing conditions determine future possibilities, because those investors, those industry experts were saying, hey, listen, coffee is basically, right, the world's simplest soup, right? You take some beans and you put some water over top of it, and that's coffee. And so when he's talking about revolutionizing this industry, people are like, bean soup? Like, how do you revolutionize bean soup? Well, here's the thing. He saw it as an entry point. He saw coffee as an entry point to a conversation. He saw coffee as an entry point to a job interview. He saw coffee as an entry point to a relationship, and then everything that built from that. I mean, my God, how I'm in my 50s. How many movies have I seen in my 20s and my 30s that had something happening at a coffee shop?
Right.
Dozens.
Right. Exactly.
Because Starbucks made it an experience that was a jump off to something else. He challenged the narrative, and Dr. Tabatha, in doing so, he changed the entire industry.
Yeah, I think that that's a lesson for all of us, right? Sometimes the biggest limitation isn't the opportunity, it's the story that we're telling ourselves about the opportunity. Many of us have that very same opportunity. Like, I know that just over the last 20 years that I am more than sure that millions, probably billions of dollars have been made over a simple cup of coffee. And we have that same opportunity to be able to create moments like that, just really not even understanding the power of community and building those relationships, right? But just wanting to step out of the law of conditions and just do something different. I think that we can take that on head first, but we got to position ourselves, right?
I mean, exactly. I mean, it's amazing because, and I think, we've talked about before, and we'll talk about it over and over again. The human brain is both the most powerful computer in the world, but almost the most limiting computer in the world, right? So when your mind says it can't work, we rarely give it a chance. The mind is incredible because in its efficiency, it creates issues. Like, Dr. Tabatha knows my wife's name is Jill, and she deals with a congenital back defect. And what's interesting about her back defect is she's had multiple surgeries. When she has a surgery, what happens is they'll go out and they'll clean out all the scar tissue from around her back. And the funny thing about the human body is because there was trauma from the surgery to remove scar tissue. What happens? Scar tissue forms.
Right. Right.
So she has set herself up for a lifetime of surgeries from the body doing what the body does. This is what's wild about our brains. We experience something incredible, and in experiencing what's incredible, the brain then says, okay, that was at a 10 today. So the next time you achieve this, it'll be a 9, and then an 8, and then a 7, because we want to reserve the power for something else. It also, in an effort to conserve energy, when we fail at something, it's like putting a nice big file in a file cabinet and saying, don't do that ever again.
Right.
And so as soon as we pull that file, like, oh, let's go work out, there's a big file that pops up and be like, get your big butt back to bed. You're not going to work out. you know you're not going to get any thinner.
Right.
But that's literally what our brains do. It literally does that, which is crazy to us. But the way the mind works, our bodies are not set up for achievement. That's not an actual human thing. Our bodies are set up for survival. And the most effective way the brain survives is to conserve energy when it can. And that means once you failed at something, the brain says, oh, that's a failing thing. Let's conserve energy. Let's not even try that. And then once you've achieved something and used all those endorphins, all that adrenaline, all that serotonin, all that oxytocin up, the body says, whoo, that was a party, bro. We don't need to do that again.
Right.
So next time you experience that, we're going to dampen that down. It's incredible how the brain and the body work. They are set up to not have you be a millionaire.
Right.
They are set up to have you have the status quo. So it actually takes concentrated effort to show up every day, to look at your conditions. When something worked well, try to amplify that. When something didn't work well, say, oh, well, and then keep doing it. So many of the thing about it is, and we know this, a lot of the stories that we inherit are not ours. Someone told them to you. Things like people like us don't become wealthy.
Right.
Or business is risky. Or you have to work yourself to death. Or money changes people. I remember my first job out of college as a financial advisor. My dad, who was head of HR at a bank, was like, why would you want to be a salesperson? I was like, to make money? He's like, I'm a head of HR at a bank. You can have any job you want in the bank. And I was like, but yeah, then I gotta work with you.
Right.
Let me go ahead and do something different.
Right.
try to make some money. So if we think of ourselves as computers and as human beings, we are a computer that's just made of meat, plumbing, and electricity. Those ideas that we have, Dr. Tabatha, they become the internal programs that run the computer.
Oh yeah, I believe that. And eventually though, we stop questioning them and we accept them as truth. And I can see that over and over again where we limit ourselves to endless possibilities, right? Like some people get to the point of where they don't even try anymore. Like average becomes a part of life instead of being extraordinary, right? Like I like to consider myself a disruptor. Like I'll get out there and I will try some stuff. And, you tell me no, it becomes my life mission to prove you wrong, right? Because I just am programmed that way to at least try it before I count it out, or continue to keep pushing my boundaries so that I keep expanding and keep learning. But many people stop way before then, right? They stop. I quite often like to think of it that they stop 2 to 3 moves before potential breakthrough. And I know that that's some people's truth, and I'm okay with that being their truth. But for me, I'm like, man, there's so much more in there. Like, let's continue to keep going, right? So I know that there's endless possibilities as we continue to keep going. But where other people accept it as their truth, we can see where the law of conditions comes into play quite often, all the time, right?
Absolutely. And we need to let people understand that inherited beliefs aren't actually accurate. They're just simply repeated. And one of the most liberating moments in life is realizing you can question those stories you inherited. Harriet Tubman had an awesome quote, and I'm bastardizing a little bit because this isn't the exact quote, but I always like my paraphrasing of the quote. And that quote was, I freed 500,000 slaves, and I could have freed 500,000 more if they knew they were slaves.
Right.
And you get this crazy visual of Harriet Tubman coming up to some people, being like, "Okay, I'm here to free you," and they're like, "Free us from what?" Like, Harriet Tubman's like, "Oh my God, please! Like, will you please come with me?" It's like, "What are you talking about? I'm eating good in the neighborhood. Like, what are you talking about?"
Right.
And for whatever reason, I always think of that with entrepreneurship. Once again, it's a little bit out there, but I always think of that as whenever I've talked to someone who, even about becoming just like a lifestyle entrepreneur, like, hey, why don't you start something else, make yourself an extra $100 a month, or enough for like vacation or help your kids go to school. You're like, entrepreneurship's hard. It's like, okay, why? How do you know that? It's like, I saw it on Shark Tank. Like, okay, man, listen.
Right.
I'm not saying you got to ask anyone for $500,000. I'm saying just try to flex those muscles, just to kind of keep that in mind. So here's the great thing, right? We can always rewrite the narrative, and that's the wonderful thing. Conditions can change, and even though your past can explain your thinking, it does not have to imprison your future. So this awareness that conditions can change can create choice, and that choice becomes a new behavior, and the new behavior becomes results, right? So, one of the, wise person kind of once said, like, when your thoughts, those thoughts become your words, your words become your actions become your habits become your character becomes your destiny. So the real way to rewrite your narrative is through action, not with thought. And one of the major things that we do with Kairos, with Mahogany Circle, using the Kairos laws, is to try to help groups of people step by step change their thoughts. We want you to change your words that go along with those thoughts. We want to help incentivize you to change your actions. Those actions then become habits. Those habits then become a character that says, wow, like, there is no win or lose. There's just win and learn. Like, it's like, Thomas Edison tried for 2,000 times to come up with the filament for the light bulb. And when someone came to him and said, like, Thomas, like, bro, give it up. Like, you failed 2,000 times. He's like, nah, I just figured out 2,000 ways not to make a light bulb.
That's right.
And that is, if there's any mantra of entrepreneurship, like, that's it. You have to have, Dr. Deb, you have to have that end goal in mind, and then have a dogged determination. Some would say delusion. Some would say obsession, to say, I just want to, for my short time on this planet, I just want to see that one time. And that's what can drive those results, Dr. Deb.
Oh, yeah, I definitely believe that that transformation begins with your awareness, right? Knowing that you have the ability to change something. Like I have some friends that they improved upon a product, right? An existing product, but made some improvements to it and literally became millionaires overnight. And I'm like, well, how many other things have we created over the course of time that does not have a patent? There's no IP around it. There's no trademark. There's no anything, but you have the secret sauce. I quite often like to say that some of us are the best kept secret ever, because why? We didn't put it out there. We didn't vocalize it. We didn't say, let me help you with how to do that just a little bit better, because we keep it all to ourselves. We internalize it, right? Like you were saying. So it definitely does make a difference when we now see that we can do something better and really put it out there, right?
And think about all those people who refuse their circumstances, right? Howard Schultz, we just talked about, grew up in public housing.
Yeah.
Oprah, she overcame extraordinary adversity at all levels. You know, many these entrepreneurs, they begin with rejection, with debt, with failure. Their breakthrough wasn't that life got easier, but their breakthrough was that they stopped letting yesterday dictate tomorrow.
That's right. That's right. I agree. And we get the opportunity to see so many of those examples when we sit down and really study how it is that some of the changes that we do today, the modern conveniences, like let's just look at the computer, for example, right? When the computer came around, nobody thought it was going to be a great idea. But just a handful of people came together, said, I'll invest in your idea. I'll help you bring that to life. And sometimes that's all we need in order to literally change the world. Now, a lot of people may say that that's artificial intelligence today. I don't know. I might say that I will agree with them, especially since we teach that here in the Mahogany Circle as well, right? Ancestral intelligence, artificial intelligence. We want to make sure that we're staying on the cutting edge. And the law of condition says that, okay, there's the box, right? There's the square. Okay, we want to get outside of that square and do something just a little bit better, go beyond the boundaries of that, right? Would you agree?
Absolutely. So all the folks who are able to do something, they changed the meaning, and when the meaning changed, their decisions changed. So as we always like to do on our podcast, I want to give you a couple of questions to rewrite your conditions. The first one out of our 7 questions is a really basic one. Like, what belief about money did I inherit? Whether that's from parents, whether that's from close friends when you're younger, grandparents. I came from a family that was, if we weren't well-to-do, we thought we were well-to-do. And so more money typically was spent than we actually had. And so one of the things I had to, get much better with was just like this accounting aspect of, hey, when you run a business, it's not my revenue, it's the business's revenue. And so the business is paying me as the person running it, but the business still needs fuel if the car's going to go. So we got to change what we think about the money there. So what belief in money did I inherit? Number 2, what fear keeps showing up in my life? Is it a fear of taking the next step? Is it a fear of being broke? I know lots of people who have a fear of having money. Like they're legit have a fear of like, if I have money, like, will anyone really see me? Will I ever be in a relationship that's meaningful? Will I lose all my friends that I grew up with? Like, what is that fear that keeps showing up in your life? And then number 3 is, where did that fear actually begin? Right? We mostly say that fear stands for false evidence appearing real. So in most cases, the fear isn't a real thing, but you've gotten some false evidence, mainly because of some sort of an interaction or maybe because of some association. We want to find the genesis of where that fear began. Now, number 4, is that belief objectively true? Like, are we basically saying that everyone who was a millionaire did not find a significant other? Of course, that's not true.
Right.
Have we seen situations where someone made money and then all their boys from home were like, I don't want to hang out with you anymore? Was it because you made the money, or was it because you started acting like someone who made the money?
Right.
And that was and you didn't become like, down with them anymore. I don't know. But I think it's important for each individual person to ask the question, do they believe that's objectively, not subjectively, objectively true? Number 5, what new belief would better serve your future? So if I have a fear that, hey, if I become wealthy and I will never attract the person who actually loves me for me, then a new belief you could tell yourself is, well, maybe I'm going to find that person that just wants peace in their life. And by them having peace in their life, they bring peace to my life. Maybe you link up with another entrepreneur like Dr. Tabatha has done, and you both understand each other in a way where 1 + 1 can equal 3, and you magnify each other's sunlight, right? I think that you can, the wonderful thing about belief is you can create it. It's something that's completely within our scope to say, I believe this or I don't believe this. Now, number 6 would be, what opportunity have I rejected because of an old story? And this is one of those that is very, very difficult for a lot of people, especially coming out of COVID, post-COVID, post George Floyd. Lots of things have happened to lots of people. I'm not sure I've run into anybody, whether they're white, black, male, female, who has not felt some version of trauma. Certainly some people have felt more trauma physiologically than others, but everyone feels a certain way. And that feeling, the human body, like we tend to feel the same thing. Like when I have if I'm scared, I have bubble guts. Like that's the same thing that someone in France feels when they feel that thing for them, right? So we need to understand that oftentimes we reject opportunities because we have a feeling that is not objectively true. We want to figure out, what have I rejected because of an old story? And then number 7, if I weren't carrying my past, what decision would I make today? Now, that's strong, because now the key about this is you have to kind of go through each of these questions step by step. What belief about money did I inherit? What fear keeps showing up in my life? Where did that fear begin? Is that belief objectively true? What new belief would better serve my future? What opportunity have I rejected because of the old story? And now once you have that sort of momentum going with those questions, now you ask yourself, if I weren't carrying my past, what decision would I make today? I think that's important, because oftentimes if I ask that last question first, I'd be like, nothing, dog, I'm good.
Exactly.
Like my every single one of my decisions is on point.
That's right. That's right. And this is why there's layers to this, right? Answering those questions, being honest with yourself, can completely change the trajectory of your life, but you got to allow it to work on you, right? Like these questions, the way that they're designed is to make you to really do some soul searching, right? Like really look at even your business behaviors and how you look at life. Those money beliefs that you have, that's a real thing, right? Because that determines whether or not you can become successful. And what we find out is that many people have accomplished the level of being a millionaire, but have nothing to show for it. So we know that in order to be a successful millionaire, it determines how much of that money you can keep. So it really does make a difference for sure in how we apply these questions to make sure that it is doing what it's designed to do, and that's to change our trajectory.
Yeah. And I think that, we can, once you get to a certain age in business, whether it was coming out of 2001, coming out of 2008, there's going to be a whole other bubble that comes up, it's sometime very soon. I can even speculate what those bubbles would be. It has become not overly hard with some focused hard work to be worth 7 figures.
Right.
What got you to 7 figures will not keep you at 7 figures in down markets. Right. Which is why we talk about that concept of sharing the vision, creating the systems, but then instead of just naturally going and buying the new Mercedes, buy a laundromat. Right.
Exactly.
Buy a car wash place. Something that buy an asset that will continue to pay you. So we want to leave you with this. Like every successful person discovers that the greatest prison is not a place. It's a pattern, right? The greatest breakthrough is not external. It's always internal. If you rewrite your story, if you challenge your assumptions, if you question your conditions, things will happen, because the future belongs to those who refuse to let yesterday make tomorrow's decisions. And so often, true pain is when you've experienced something in the past, but then when you have good things on the horizon, you have the nerve to go pull that sucker from the past and say, oh, good things, but let me just drop this on it.
Right.
How does that make sense?
Just lost all the steam.
Right. So once again, understand this, and let me reiterate this to everyone. It is, now I'm going to sound like a therapist like my wife. It is not your fault.
Mm-hmm.
Your brain is structured to do that, to keep you safe. There's a reason why Maslow's hierarchy is Maslow's hierarchy.
Right.
Your brain, before you can do anything real, is set up to want to go get something to drink and something to eat.
Right.
Then what's number 2 on Maslow's hierarchy? Safety. And your brain is set up to make you safe, to keep your expectations low, and to manage energy production to maintain the body in its current state. There's no such thing as ambition in human physiology. So if you want it, you have to generate it. And we know, once again, that future is for those people who do not let yesterday make tomorrow's decisions. So thank you for joining us for another episode of Mahogany Circle Podcast. On behalf of myself, on behalf of Dr. Tabatha, we'll see you next time. Dr. Tabatha, what do we always say at the end here?
Keep building wealth,
purpose
and legacy.
There we go. That's the closest we come.
Look, we're working on it. That's awesome.
Have a great week, everyone.
You as well.
Welcome to the Mahogany Circle, where we rise up, make it all come forward. From the ground up, yeah, we build it right, turning knowledge into wealth for life. Mahogany strong, yeah, we own our lane, breaking every chain, never stay the same. It's a new day, yeah, we take control, build it up, pass it down, that's the goal. Entrepreneur spirit, we running the game, no shortcuts here, we earning the name. Invest in smart, let the money grow, multiple streams, watch the cash flow. Dr. Dan with the plan, map it out clear. Dr. Talbot, the voice, yeah, you need that here. Game so solid, no room for fear. We talking wealth that lasts for years. Ownership keys, yeah, we unlock doors. Teach you how to build, then build you more. It's bigger than now, it's deeper than fame. It's family warmth, yeah, that's the aim. We don't chase it, we create it. Every move is elevated. From the vision to the strategy, this is legacy, reality.